Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Mike, and this is For the Record. Well, love him or hate him, Natalie Maines officially announced a new Dixie Chick album. Looks like it's probably going to be next year in 2020. And the title that's floating around right now, unofficially, the title is, again, unofficially, the title is Gaslighter. But the more I read about it, that name keeps popping up, so it's more than likely is going to be the name, which is kind of a neat name considering what motivated this album. So I guess last June, Natalie Maines on Instagram had posted like a 7 or 8 second video with her, Emily, and Marty, the other Dixie Chicks, and also songwriter, record producer Jack Antonoff. They were all in the studio together, and they did a short little clip, what I call almost like a teaser. And they just said that there's a Dixie Chicks album coming sometime, or maybe eventually. But again, sounds like it's going to be next year in 2020. So, what does this mean? Does this mean that this is a comeback album? Is this just simply a re-emergence? The difference, Natalie Maines had mentioned that this isn't necessarily a comeback album. They've all since done solo stuff since they split. Can I say that? Seems like a bad word. I mean, they just kind of disbanded, I guess, a little bit. But they no hard feelings with the group concerning what happened in March of 2003. We'll get that in a second. But so, Natalie, Emily, and Marty have all gone and done their solo stuff. Although the two sisters, Emily and Marty, the two sisters really did their own thing, and Natalie Maines kind of did her own solo career, and she's been, I guess, pretty successful at that. She's got, I guess, a couple or a few albums out. One that I have, I can't speak for all of them, but one that I have from her is called Mother. It's not a great album, but it's okay. The album definitely shows Natalie Maines like her range with her voice. I mean, she's such a knockout singer. But you're kind of used to hearing her with the Dixie Chicks, so it's kind of hard to hear her as a solo artist. But it's pretty good. It's all right. But as far as the two others, Emily and Marty, they formed a band called Courtyard Hounds. I can't speak for the music. I haven't heard it, so I really don't know how it is, and that's not really the point of this video anyway. But they did their solo stuff for a while. Back in March of 2003, if any of you are unaware what happened, I mean, they were literally on top of the world. I mean, they were on top. They were getting Grammys. They were getting awards left and right. They were just doing They were just doing it. You couldn't turn the radio on without hearing the music. Their music ranged from country to progressive, almost, and it just, they were all over the place with the genre of music. They were everywhere, and they were on top of the world. And then, March 2003, Natalie Maines makes an off-the-cuff comment that you may or may not be aware of. But I guess, and I will say this, when she said it, it wasn't political. It wasn't like had to do with it wasn't voting time. It wasn't that time of that time of year. It wasn't political at all. They weren't like trying to rally. They weren't trying to say this person is better than that person. They were literally doing a concert at a small venue of about 2,000 people, and Natalie Maines during the concert had made a comment regarding the President Bush. She had said, if I remember correctly, she said that they are ashamed, or I made a note right here, that they're ashamed that the President of the United States is from Texas. And then they were gone. Record labels didn't want them. Radio stations didn't want to play the music. They had radio stations had listeners calling into the radio station saying that they were going to ban the radio station. They were gonna just do everything they could to bash whatever radio station was going to whatever was playing the music. You couldn't turn the radio on at that time and hear the music. They were gone. Boom. They were just gone almost overnight. And they don't have hard feelings for each other. A lot of people think that after this happened, they disbanded, they went off and they had a solo career and they couldn't talk to each other anymore. That's absolutely not the case. I've watched many interviews, I've read many articles, and they actually, they were surprised at the fact that Natalie Maines had said what she had said. But for a second, they were surprised, and then they went on with the concert, because that's all it was. It was just a concert. It was an off-the-cuff comment that she had made, and they were still friends, and they disappeared for a while, doing their solo stuff. Kind of getting together with, I guess through the years they've done work with Beyonce, Taylor Swift. They still get along, and they just decided to, I guess, focus or concentrate on their family. But they still have to work. They're artists. They continue to work, but they weren't necessarily mad at each other, and they didn't hate each other. And I thought that for a few years, but that wasn't the case at all. So I guess so it's been, say, 13 years since their last album. I'm getting this mixed up with the song title, but Taken a Long Way. Okay, back in 2006, Taken a Long Way. It's been 13 years since their last album, and this album, I don't have it on vinyl yet. I plan on getting this. I just want this and another one. I don't have it on vinyl. This is Taken a Long Way. It kind of explains, I guess, their through the years of getting back and trying to get back on their feet after they were shunned from the music community, which I think was a complete and utter slap in the face. I mean, I really don't understand. I don't understand what the big deal was. They said what they said, and they're free to say what they want, or she's free to say whatever she wants to say. And I don't shun anybody that speaks their mind. And that's just, it's freedom of speech, right? So this is a bit different from their normal sort of aim towards more country, but again, you can't really put them in the country genre. But this Taken a Long Way is probably a little more aimed towards progressive, I guess. Not rock, but not quite country, not quite rock. It's kind of like I don't know. It's different. It's different from their normal sound. So 13 years, and they're finally coming back with another album. As I mentioned, some consider this a comeback. Some consider it a re-emergence. I kept reading, and this isn't. Natalie Maines had said, this isn't necessarily a comeback album. It's just more. I mean, if you want to call it a collaboration, nonetheless, it's the Dixie Chicks. It's all three members. You can't say three original, but I'm not going to go back to the history of the Dixie Chicks. But the Dixie Chicks that we know, they've got 4 albums and three previous albums before Natalie Maines joined the group. They have 4 albums, studio albums, 4 studio albums with Natalie Maines, and so it's been 13 years, and they're getting back in the studio, and I am looking forward to this album. I have always liked their music. I can't say I've liked them from like when they first came out, but sometime in the 2000s, I think somewhere in the late 90s, 2000s, I started getting into their music, and I have all the music, whether it's on vinyl or CD. I adore the Dixie Chicks, and I think they deserve a lot more respect than I think they've been given in the past. But my hats off to them, so to speak, for lasting so many years and trying to stay in the business, and more or less, as I said, being shunned out of the music industry, but they're back, and I'm glad that they've stayed somewhat in the music industry, making music, writing music, performing, and who knows, maybe there'll be a tour to follow. But let's focus on getting this album out. I absolutely totally plan on getting this on CD and vinyl when it comes out, and I'll certainly do a music review of the album when it comes out. And I'm really excited about this album. There are a list of a few albums that I totally plan on getting, and this is definitely on the top of the list. Dixie Chicks, hopefully in 2020, and again, unofficial name is Gaslighter. Real quick, I don't think I mentioned this, but the album is partially inspired by Natalie Maine's divorce, and I guess she had said that she said she had a lot to say, and I guess songwriting helps. But that's it, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you watching, and hashtag Dixie Chicks 2020 Gaslighter. As always, be kind to others, peace, and see you on the flip side. Dixie Chicks forever.